Hey, 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 aloha, friends, and welcome. All right, so as you're coming on, just go ahead and say howdy, hello, aloha, whatever works for you. Type in where you're from. I'm going to pull up a note or two that I had made. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that was right at the top for me. And I want to open up a document that I made earlier and just share a couple quick items with you. All right. There we go. All right, that's it. That's what I was looking for. So let me jump back over to you and see how we're doing. 43 people in 1 minute. I think that is a record for the highest number of people within the first minute of a live. And that's while I was over there pulling up a couple things for you. So we have, quick glance here. We have, I'm glad, Merritt, that answer yesterday was for you. It was truly amazing, and I knew that would help. I'm glad you were open to it. We got Australia, we got South Carolina, Florida, Scotland, Oregon. I don't know how the hell to say that. Alabama. I can do that one fairly well. Arizona, Scotland again, San Diego, South Carolina. Love you guys. Hey, everybody. Brazil, toasty Arizona, more Scotland. It's growing. We got a growing Scotland contingent over there, even though they tolerate me saying it like that. Albuquerque, Coventry, UK, Pennsylvania. We have hi. Hey, Anna. All right, so this is groovy. We have, hey, Tobias, great to see you on. Kathy, y'all, I just got to say, you're going to dig this one. All right? So, here we go. You have to tell me about that catfishing comment later, Deborah. All right, y'all. Every day since the lockdown happened, I made a commitment that I would come on live every single day for 15 minutes, that we would put up a website at our own expense as a company with nothing for sale, nothing offered. And we did it. Global INrising. Let me pull that up for everybody that hasn't been there yet. Make yourself a note or just go real quick and open the page and then don't watch the video yet. If that video audio plays for you, or auto plays, just hit pause and make sure you go back to it. Otherwise, you might want to just grab your calendar or write a note, globalinrising.com. But don't distract yourself from this. All right? So what I committed to do was to create that website with my team to create and deliver thousands of dollars. I would say millions, but there's no way to really put a price on freedom of resources. We have a free Facebook group, which is called Unconditional Happiness. You're welcome to join. It's wide open. It's free. We're going to make it private soon. Right now, it's still wide open. And to do these lives every single day, and I have done it now for roughly 40 days. Almost every day, I have just stayed true to the single focus of doing quantum questions with tiny specks of teaching. Today, I want to share what is actually, you know what? You don't have to take my word for it. I don't want you or need you or expect you to take my word for it. And if you breathe with me and if you choose presence, you will be able to feel whatever truth there is in what I'm about to say to you. Okay, I used to not believe in, you could say, or understand astrology. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And even when I started to become spiritually aware, wait, crystals and feathers and bones, what's up with all that shit? You know, that's weird. That's weird. Those people are crazy. And then I experienced some of it. And then when I stepped in 2011, I mean, I had been studying quantum physics and metaphysics and all the idea of spiritual laws for decades, y'all, decades. And then in that moment in 2011, when I, at the lowest point that a human could reach, suicidal, hopeless, homeless, I woke up. And this idea that all is one stopped being an idea. It was like, oh shit. But it's not just we, all people are one. All is one. And that ties right in and overlaps with everything is energy, which I'd been saying for decades, like all the spiritual fucks around me say everything's energy, but living as if everything was physical. You dig? All is one, everything is energy, and we exist in perfection in a state of infinite possibilities, able to unmake what we have made and step in to anything we want without limits. Now, I know that you believe that to an extent, or you wouldn't be on this call with me. And I know you're not living it 100%, or you wouldn't waste your time being on this call with me. So my mission, in one way of explaining my mission is to help as many as I can, as many as want it, to step into the reality of oneness. Not the idea, not understanding it better, not I've heard it enough times that it's beginning to stick. That does absolutely nothing but just frustrates you. You still will believe that there's a God outside of you that has the power, and you'll be waiting on that one rather than being that one. I love you back. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. All is one, everything is energy, and all exists in a state of infinite possibilities with infinite change when we tap into our infinite being. And there's a couple things that I'm going to touch on. Everybody, I'm glad you're here. The reason why I'm not being as chatty with the comments, I really feel compelled and inspired. And there's a few things that I really want to share. So I'm really glad you're here. I will probably respond to the comments later. And then later, I'll probably come back through and respond to some of them, maybe even after as a replay. Please keep the comments coming. Keep the questions coming. And stay here breathing presence with me. I dig it, Tom. But every time you say that you're far from living it, you make yourself far from living it. Okay. I was talking about astrology for a moment. In the moment that I stepped into, okay, Anna, I don't believe that for 1 minute, and I know that you do. Not that. I don't believe it. I know you do. I know you believe it. I honor it and I respect it. And as long as you want to believe it, please do. I have no desire whatsoever to change your mind. I will only say that as long as you believe it, you're going to suffer like a motherfucker. And everybody who believes what you just said is going to suffer as long as they believe it. But I'm not trying to change your mind. And I honor the fact that you're on here with me, even though you believe that, you're still open-minded. So, hey, all right. If all is one, then where's this fucking idea that there's a God and a devil and that there's spiritual warfare? It's got to be one or the other. You can't have both of those. Now, in all is one, you could have the illusion of spiritual warfare and this against that, and boy, are we doing a great job of it. But that's because we believe in separation infinitely more than the little speck of us that says, oh yeah, I believe in oneness. Now I'm going to kick your ass and take what I need so I can have enough for me. All right? I dig it, Pierre. So the way that you step into infinite oneness is by choosing presence. And that's why nobody's doing it, because they keep waiting for how do I do that? There is no how to do it. You choose presence and you find yourself in oneness because you never were anywhere else. But while you weren't present, you had the endless repetition of the illusion of separation, which is what you think and believe that you know. What did he just say? You might want to back that up and rewind it on the replay. All right. So Oh, the numbers are climbing, and I'm so glad. So now let me dive deep here. So if you don't understand astrology, or if you believe it in the pop culture way, I can understand that. I have no judgment about it. I thought it was totally woo-woo spiritual bullshit. I totally couldn't comprehend it. But check this out. Imagine for a moment that all is one. Imagine for a moment that all is one. If all is one, then just as there is a liver cell beside a liver cell in my liver, and they're communicating with the liver, which is communicating with the spleen, and all the cells are communicating in ways that I have tuned out and lost my ability to hear temporarily, then I'm a cell in the body of humanity. Similarly, and the Earth is a cell in the body of the solar system, which is a cell in the body of the galaxy, which is a cell in the universe, and on and on and on to levels that we don't have words or even ideas for, the way we've been programmed. So what if you let in for just a minute? Do you figure that the interaction between your liver and your kidneys could have an effect on you? You think so? Is there any possibility? Well, okay, so Leanne just said, I love astrology. I'm hoping to learn more about it. I would advise that we all unlearn everything that we know about it so we can actually discover what it is. And I'm going to be pointing to that in just a minute. Do you figure there's any possibility that your liver and your kidneys interaction has anything to do with you or any effect on you? Is there any possibility that the interaction of your brain and your heart has any effect on you? Any possibility? You think? But what if what you think is you, and the you that just thought that, okay, let me see if this conglomeration of all my programming that I've picked up since before I was born, all this programming, here's the question that Brian just asked, and that me spits out a stupid fucking answer. Oh yeah, I think it does. But I'm talking about the real you. Is there any possibility that the interaction between your liver and your kidneys and your spleen and your brain and your heart has any effect on the real you? Oh my God. What? How now? Yeah. Well, then do you figure that the juxtaposition of the synchronistic relation at the instant of your conception between Uranus and Pluto and Neptune and Jupiter, do you think there's any possibility that the juxtaposition of those in synchronicity with where the planet is and the phase that our galaxy is going through and our solar system's movement through the galaxy, is there any possibility that that has any effect on who and what you seem to be? Is there any reason why the zodiacs, and there are multiple zodiacs, let us not forget, is there any possibility that the zodiacs, when they're not filtered through pop culture stupidity and programming, is there any possibility that they are telling a tale and revealing something about the interrelationship between the cells of my body? I mean, wouldn't the cells of my body be singing a slightly different song if Uranus and Jupiter and Venus were lined up in a slightly different way than they had been a half a second before? So wouldn't that have something to do, possibly, maybe, sort of, possibly, in some kind of way, a little bit, maybe, with what I think I am? And isn't that maybe why there's different personality types? And isn't that possibly, couldn't that have something to do with maybe why history seems to repeat itself? These people that are predicting major events. Now, I'm not talking about some billionaire sitting saying, I predict that in the next 5 years, a virus is going to kill a lot of people, and then I'm going to make $500 billion on the vaccine. And the reason I'm able to predict this with such uncanny magical certainty is because I just invested $500 billion in all the governments, and I have the patent for the vaccine, and we're almost finished, ready to release the virus. I'm not talking about that kind of prediction, which is not actually prediction. Okay, that's engineering. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about predictions. When somebody 400 years ago said, hey, let me tell you what's going to happen right there around 2020. And then when it happens, how and why are they able to do that? They must be magical seers. No, they might have studied what happened the last 10,000 times over the last 300,000 years of human history. Don't forget that not that long ago, the Library of Alexandria, Egypt, the biggest library in our history, got burned to the fucking ground. Who knows what was burned then? Who knows what histories were lost, wiped out? So no, I'm not saying that if it's written in the stars that we can't change it. No, because we create the fucking stars, baby. And that's part of what this game is about, to awaken to. All right, so check this out. I'm going to read something to you, and I want you to just think about this for a minute. The last time Saturn, the planet, was in Aquarius in relationship to Earth was when the Rodney King riots happened. The last time that Pluto was in Capricorn in relation to the whole juxtaposition was the American Revolution. Last time Neptune was in Pisces was when the Roman Empire fell. All three of those are happening simultaneously right now. It's something to think about. It's something to reflect on. It's something to say, wow, I thought about it, reflected on it. I'm going to choose presence now. Okay? I'm going to choose presence now. All right, so watch this. I have a couple of ideas that I'm going to share with you. I'm going to just share a couple of things. Number one, I will say, if you write this down somewhere, write down Mystic, MYSTIC, Mystic Rhythms by Rush. Just write that down and then go find the lyrics in a little while and read it 3 or 4 times. Then go for a walk and then come back and read it again. All right? It'll change your life. Patterns that are so quick that we literally don't notice them. There are cycles that repeat a septillion times per second. The universe, all of the matter in the universe, which isn't matter, it's lights blinking in and out of existence. It comes in and out of existence a septillion times per second. That's a 1 with 21 zeros. The universe arises and passes away and arises and passes away. And that is so that infinite, unlimited being can have the illusion of experience, and we can seem to be here in a seemingly physical world. But it's arising and passing away a septillion times per second. You figure the thing that you think is you, do you figure it notices that? There are cellular processes happening thousands of times per second. We're utterly unaware of, but the infinite, unlimited consciousness that you are brings them into being, and you can tap into them. Kind of trippy, but you'd have to stop doing TikTok videos all fucking day and bring some of your presence back. So, oh, okay, I think I can do this now. The lunar cycle. We think we have a handle on that one. Oh, it's like roughly every 28 and a half days, whatever. The moon seems to go around the earth. We have this thing, and the tides follow that, and the menstrual cycle follows. Hey, I can relate to that. That one I can see how that big ball that's pretty near the earth, whether it's a military base or whether it's a moon, I don't fucking know. But we can see that that affects gestation cycles. It affects so many things, affects so many things, right? That's easy. The moon, oh, we get that. Well, what about the 26,500 year cycle of our solar system taking its elliptical orbit across the galaxy? It's been happening for billions of years. What about the implications of that? What about things that line up let's just say every 4,000 years? All of us, because all of us are one, all that is actually going through all these houses of the zodiac. We're all going. That old Q phrase, right? Where we go one, we go all. I'm not saying about Q other than that quote right now. All right. I could, but I'm not. And so if the moon being here's the world and here's the moon. Okay. And all the water on the earth goes and pulls this way. And on full moons, it's even different. If we can look at that and go, okay, so physiological, emotional, and hormonal changes on the planet and in humans happen just from the fucking moon being on one side of the planet. How many billions or trillions or innumerable things are related to that? Maybe it's true that when Mercury is pulling away in retrograde, it could have pulls on different things. And what about the fact that every planet has a primary frequency that it hums at? The Earth frequency is called the Schumann resonance. And now this is where it's going to get really crazy. We've been told that there are universal constants, right? Okay, so we can rely on these constants because they never change. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. Really? Rupert Murdoch and some other scientists that aren't bound by fucking dogma or funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and others has discovered that the speed of light varies, is not a fucking constant. All the constants that we were told are constants are always changing, and who knows what's behind the change. Butterfly effect. You mean that if people were rioting in my neighborhood and I were to sit with my family in silence, feeling feelings of love, petting our puppy, and feeling feelings of love, we could cause the tempers flaring in those people to actually cool down? You mean the experiment that was done? I think it was 97, but I couldn't care less about dates. I think it was 1997, where 2,500 people, and then it ended up being about 4,000 people, said, if we get 2,500 people to meditate for a certain number of hours a day in Washington, D.C., we can lower the violent crime rate by 25% for the entire summer. And the police chief said, there's no fucking way. It is not physically possible, but they actually lowered violent crime by 25%. They ended up with 2,500 to 4,000 people meditating every day for that period, and it undid what they said could never be undone. Now, I'm going to completely change gears for just a minute. I'm going to talk about racism for a minute. I see lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people fighting racism, decrying racism as they spout endlessly racist comments. Listen, you and I are not going to get those people away from their fucking TVs and away from the news so that they'll wake up. But we can get our asses away from the TV and away from the news. And every minute that you spend out in your yard, sitting under a tree, breathing in the air, grateful for the air, grateful for the sky, feeling the ground under you. And when you look up and you see all those branches above you, you remember that there's just as many branches of that tree's roots underneath you. Reacquainting yourself with the oneness that we are. Every minute that you do that with your head off of fucking Facebook. Now, I'm glad we're on Facebook right now for this. This is a slightly different thing than the vast majority. But who's pumping out all that stuff? Who's pumping out all that news? Once you understand that that news is designed to confuse and upset you, then you're choosing to immerse yourself in it is a choice of confusion and upset. I say, if you're going to glance, I glance and I get right back to this. And Sue, yes to what you just said. Yes, but, and. Forget about helping others. Be the most selfish fuck that you can possibly be. Because when you commit to 100% helping yourself through presence, you will discover you're everybody else. And you can't not help them when you're helping yourself. Aloha, Michelle. Welcome. Hey, Joan. Why is it true that today was the day that I understood and overstood the zodiac in all its forms? Why is today the day that I see and understand in the most profound way the oneness that I am? And every time I contemplate that these two liver cells might be having a conversation, and while Venus is buzzing at and Mars is buzzing at as they swirl around, frequencies are generated that are the sum of the two of them in relationship, like a siren as it approaches. In the same way, the frequencies are rising and falling as the planets and the stars and the comets move within me. And as they move and spin, throwing off their energies, and as they move in relation to each other within me, I can expect change and I can welcome change. And why is it that I quit listening to what the news said the change was and what it meant and what they're trying to foment and ferment? And I choose to focus in presence on what I prefer. Why was today the day I did that? Why did I find myself relaxing like never before? Why did I stop saying I just don't feel safe? And why did I choose to tap into the infinite safety that's ever present within me? Why is it that today is the day that I finally chose to relax? While all those cells outside of me screaming for upset and revolution and hate. Why is it that in my realization of oneness, I realized that those voices were inside of me the whole time, and they finally got so loud that I stopped fighting and resisting, and I chose to hear the voices from presence and to beam my love at those voices. Why is it I no longer confuse the screaming mob outside of myself with the liver cells in me that are saying, please send me more love? Why is it that I finally saw that the anger that was reflecting in those crazy motherfuckers outside of me is not crazy motherfuckers outside of me? That anger that I see reflected out there is the anger stored in my kidneys that I have denied and repressed and fought against. Why is it that all those things that I think that are making me scared and sad out there are literally the reflection and the projection of the sadness and the fear in my heart and lungs, reflected out there, actually calling my attention and calling for my love, but I kept judging and fighting? Why was today that I stopped resisting? Why is today the day that all these people out there resisting finally read the fucking meme that they keep sharing in their spiritual fuckness that says what you resist persists? Why did they finally read their own fucking meme? Why is it? I noticed today. Some of my closest, most beloved, I love everybody, don't get me wrong. My closest, most beloved friends who call themselves spiritual. Posting, resist. You should resist like this. Don't resist like that. Resist like this. Resist. What you resist persists. You know why? Because it's fucking you trying to get your fucking attention. Why did I finally hear it enough that I actually heard it? And I chose to choose presence in the next moment, and the next, and the next. Why am I so grateful that the global INrising is sitting there right now, waiting for me to dive in and watch that video again and remind myself again? Why is it that today, rather than posting 42 angry fucking memes or hiding in my basement, upset, with a bottle of wine and Netflix, trying to escape, why is today the day that I got into the unconditional happiness group? It's free, sitting there waiting for me. And I did the Breath of Light 2.0 process again. And this time I really melted into oneness, and I saw it, and I felt the stars inside of my body for the first time. All right, I'm 31 minutes and 42 seconds, 24 seconds, 27 seconds into my 15-minute commitment. And this time, I'm just going to hang around for a minute and look at some of these comments. Y'all tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're thinking. And while you're at it, feel free to type in a whole bunch of names of people you're tagging on this one. What groups could you go into and share this video and say, listen, admins, this ain't a scam. This is not spam. I'm not trying to fuck with your audience. There's nothing for sale here. Take a look. Take a look. Don't delete this post. Look at this global INrising thing. I told you, didn't I, Tobias? This shit ain't normal. Okay, you know what? Look at this statement. A misperception cannot be changed into more of what I prefer by adding more misperception. Now I'm going to I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing at all, Peter. I'm just going to say another phrase that's basically the exact same thing. You can't cancel hate with hate. All of my spiritual friends who are joining Black Lives Matter, that's a racist act. If you're not saying all lives matter, if you're in any way putting an emphasis on any race, that is the definition of racist. Yeah, but they're being more unfairly treated. You're not going to make it more fairly treated by adding agreement to the fucking issue. Siding up with the oppressed. I'm sorry. It doesn't work. It'll never work. It adds to the fucking oppression. Love all infinitely is the only way. Now, you're welcome to do what you want to do. Okay, look here. Boom. 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 It's just an endless string of booms. Booms. Boom. What do you mean powerful tonight? You saying it wasn't powerful last night? Michaela, you and me both. How fortunate are we? Oh, I even got a boom from Anna. They do. You know what? Let's address this for a minute. They do say we're spiritually bypassing. They do. You know what? You know what that means? That means they don't have a fucking clue. And we just love them. Just love them. Just love them. You're spiritually bypassing. You're avoiding the fact that you're joining the racist fire with what you're doing. A little bit earlier today, I saw a post where someone was pointing out that, there's stuff going about Antifa and blah, blah, blah. And everybody, now you're being political. No, it's not fucking political. The people that programmed you to think that these are political issues have actually distracted you and melted your brain where you don't realize these are human issues. And by them making it political issues, you're not supposed to talk about it. So they win. Fuck that shit. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry at all. All right. So anyway, there was somebody made a post about, you can, enjoy your life here in Idaho because we're blah, blah, blah. And some girl made a post, only if you're white. Now she thinks because she was programmed at a liberal university to have a liberal leftist mindset that says you're supposed to support and defend the oppressed. But they don't understand that means you're joining the oppression. What you resist persists. The people that are pushing the racist agenda of divide and conquer are the ones teaching and preaching the supposedly anti-racist movements to add to the racism. And this girl wrote, only if you're white. And I said, you just made yourself the biggest racist in the conversation. And I love you. It's fine. I love you. It's okay. The only way is to love all that is equally. It's the only way. Well, you're not loving black people enough if you love okay. I don't think you want to hear. So I got nothing else to say. You have a beautiful day. I love you. I'm going to sit here and love you equally too. So maybe there's no spiritual battle between light and dark. Maybe not. Maybe there's no eternal battle between light and dark. Maybe they invented that to keep us riled up. You don't think that white shaming is racist? I mean, there's a movement within that movement that says you can only be racist if you're white. And they buy it because they're eating fucking artificial flavors, artificial colors, GMO damn preservatives, and listening to ideologies. And they're selling my body. I'm not going to fight them. I'm not going to win against them. I'm not going to be against them. And I'm not going to try to win. I'm going to look and say, wow, what is that showing me? White shaming is all of the utterly insane madness reflecting in the world that says you are privileged because you're white. I know every argument about it. I know every theme about it. And it's as diluted as any other racist concepts, all arising from insane ideology. So, you know what? I didn't know I was going to do this. I'm 38 minutes and I'm going to take another minute or two with a couple quick concepts here. So there's something in the world operating called identity politics. I had heard it and never understood it. What identity politics means is you lose your ability to identify as the person and the being that you are, because you have identified with your group. So when someone if you look now at the Trump haters, okay? If you look at the Trump haters, at this moment, Donald Trump could literally go out on the street and hand $1,000 in cash to every black person on the street that's in these riot situations. He could hold a rally for blacks. He could pass 5 laws that force police to have to go through oneness training, okay, so that they can't be racist. Instantaneously, about somewhere in the neighborhood, it looks like about 12 million people would instantaneously, without knowing it, without meaning to, without being aware they're doing it, their fingers or thumbs would go into twittering about the evil action he just committed. Because they are not conscious beings anymore. They're in the identity, I am a liberal, or orange man is bad. Identity politics is when you see yourself as a part of a group and you can no longer think for yourself. All you know is that whatever we've agreed within this group the enemy is, that motherfucker is bad. It's just automatic bad. It is absolutely brainwashing. However, it's a very specific type of brainwashing, okay? And it's similar to this. And this is why I just said that part. If you make a post that says, I have 472 pieces of evidence that I have gathered here that shows that wearing masks reduce your breathing, they put your body in stress, they create psychological fear and embarrassment that I'm a fucking sheep in with all the other sheep. It has zero health benefit for anyone, only harm and damage for everybody that uses these masks, right? Here's 472 pieces of information proving beyond the shadow of a doubt that masks don't help. They only harm. And I don't really have an opinion. I'm just putting these up here so that anyone can look, because I found this treasure trove, 472 pieces of evidence that prove that masks are bad. I'm telling you, if you have more than 5 Facebook friends, some fucking psycho is going to instantaneously, reflexively, without even knowing they're doing it, with no thought whatsoever, they're going to say, you're spitting in the faces of all the healthcare workers that are having to dance on video because they don't have any patience. Wait, what did I just say? No, you're spitting on the graves of all the people who needlessly died from this virus because you're saying you're putting everyone else at risk because you're blah, blah, blah. But they don't have any idea what you just said. They just know that you said the thing that their identity group has said is bad, and if they can be the first to chime in and point out that you're bad, they look good to their group. Now, before you think I'm siding up against them or making fun of them by saying that they're crazy motherfuckers, what I say throughout this whole thing and what have I been saying for the last 9 years? Wow, that's part of me showing up. What would I have to believe to see that in my world? I'm responsible. Oneness, peace, presence. I don't know if I could share this live with my friends because Brian just said that thing and I know that they'll attack me. So if you're not familiar, I will let you know that you can go to Unconditional Happiness on Facebook. Just type in Unconditional Happiness. I have a few friends that are in that group that are helping me to add people as soon as they request to join. When you get in there, you'll see in the units that the Breath of Light 2.0, which I'm not going to go into explaining, there's a video there that explains it. It will literally take you into oneness, probably in the most profound way that you've ever been there. Okay. And maybe you haven't tasted the oneness yet. It takes you back to your infinite, unlimited being. There's also my training on quantum questions and some other groovy stuff in there for free. I dare say, thank you, Leanne. I dare say that what you will find in the unconditional happiness group that is free is going to be more valuable and more beneficial than any self-help course or program that you could pay $100,000 to $10,000 for right now. And I'm biased, but I'm not. So if you're looking at the comments, the real-time comments, even on the replay, you will see that Sue just typed in the link to that group. Thank you so much for that. So over and out, I got some work to do to help some of the cells in my body that are ready for it. I love you. There's nothing wrong with you. There never was, there never has been, there never can be anything wrong with you. You are eternal, infinite, unlimited, perfect energy. It's all you ever could be. And you can choose presence and watch the entire universe change around you. You can start to see these things that are happening that look crazy and scary. You can realize, wait, stuff's rearranging in me. Let me focus even more love, even more understanding, even more grace. And watch, it can't fail because it's all you. Love in the comments. Thanks, everybody. Beautiful. And then guess what? Share, 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 share. I'll see you tomorrow. I might change your mind about that devil, Anna. It's a cell in your body, hon. See ya.